Before we get into the video, could everyone please subscribe to my Endless Diary Tales channel? Thank you so much. After I was reborn, the first thing I did was take my parents on a trip, leaving only my younger sister at home. In my previous life, Lily threw a party while we were away, and that party caused a fire that killed our mom. Afterward, she turned around and blamed me. She cried to Dad, saying Emily said she wanted to set off fireworks. Who would have known the curtains would catch fire by accident? Then everyone said I didn't stop her, and that it was my fault Mom died. I tried to explain, but my boyfriend stepped forward and pointed the finger at me. I saw the fireworks with my own eyes. Ethan said, "You bought them yourself. Don't try to deny it." Dad was furious and sent me to prison. I eventually withered away and died behind bars. It wasn't until after my death that I learned the truth. Ethan and Lily had been in a relationship behind my back. They set the fire on purpose. They wanted me dead so they could keep everything for themselves. When I opened my eyes again, I had returned to the day of the fire. My phone rang. It was Lily calling. I answered without thinking. "Hey sis," she said sweetly. "I want to throw a party at the house, but you know how Mom and Dad are. They don't like the house getting messy, and they never really understand me." I didn't even have time to respond before she kept talking. "Also, I want some fireworks. Can you buy a few for me? But don't tell Mom and Dad, okay? You're the best. You love me the most. I know that. You'd do anything for me, right? Especially something so small. Come to the party tonight too, okay? It's going to be fun. You've been working so hard lately. You should take a break." She kept whining playfully through the phone, and then hung up before I could even get a word in. The dial tone echoed in my ear. A chill ran down my spine. I looked at myself in the mirror. My forehead was covered in cold sweat. I had come back. This was the day of the fire. When I was 5, my parents adopted Lily. From that day on, I treated her like my own sister. On this very same day in my last life, she called and asked me to buy fireworks and hide the party from our parents. I didn't think much of it and agreed right away. Later that night, my dad, who'd been working day and night at the company, called to ask how things were at home. I casually told him, "Everything's fine." When I came back from buying fireworks, I walked into a nightmare. The house was already on fire. I broke the door open and barely made it out alive. Residents crowded around outside. Firefighters were on the scene. I hadn't even caught my breath when Lily ran over and grabbed my arm tightly. Her face was pale and huge tears streamed down her cheeks. "Emily, why would you do this?" she screamed. "Why did you insist on setting off fireworks? You know you started the fire, right? Mom was trapped inside. She burned to death because of you." She was crying hysterically, barely able to breathe. I stood there in a daze, not able to make sense of anything. Then Lily dragged me to a stretcher. There was a white cloth covering a body. My hands trembled as I lifted the corner. The scorched body underneath was barely recognizable, but I could still make out Mom's face. I was in disbelief. Wasn't Mom supposed to be at work? Dad, with bloodshot eyes and a cold expression, walked over and stared at me. "Emily, you told me everything was fine. Is this what fine looks like?" Ethan, who had rushed over after hearing what happened, stood up for Lily. "She always does what she wants. No one can stop her. I'm sure she set off the fireworks indoors. That's what started the fire." Lily's eyes were red from crying. Her voice shook as she shouted, "Emily, why won't you just admit what you did? Mom is dead. Are you happy now?" That pushed Dad over the edge. His face darkened as he slapped me hard, knocking me to the ground. People around us started pointing and whispering, accusing me. In the end, Dad personally handed me over to the police. I was put in prison. It was only later that I found out the truth. Lily and Ethan had been sleeping together behind my back. The fire was never meant to kill Mom. They were trying to kill me, but they never expected that I would escape the fire. After realizing that Mom had accidentally died in the blaze, they decided to frame me instead. And just like that, I ended up in prison, full of hatred and sorrow with tears in my eyes until the end. I never imagined that after my death, in her rush to inherit everything, Lily would go so far as to have her own biological mother murder Dad. completely disregarding the years our parents raised her. Now that I had a second chance at life, I swore I would never let their scheme succeed again. I called Mom and told her I had gotten tickets to her favorite singer's concert, 3 in total. I said I wanted her and Dad to get ready, so we could all travel out of town together to see it. What about Lily? Mom hesitated. I had expected that question. I calmly replied, Lily is staying overnight at school tonight. She won't be home. After working out the timing with Mom, I called Lily's biological mother, Christine. Lily had always known she was adopted. Our parents had even invited Christine over a few times. Back then, I had saved her number in my phone. When she picked up, I invited her to Lily's party that night. Auntie Christine, I said sweetly, Lily hasn't seen you in so long. She misses you so much. But don't tell her you're coming. It'll be a better surprise if you just show up. She didn't even hesitate before agreeing. After the concert, my parents and I decided to stay overnight and rest before heading back. The next day, just as planned, I returned home first. But even from downstairs, I could see our house had already burned down. The fire had just been put out. A body was being carried out, covered in a white sheet. Neighbors walking by were whispering among themselves. What happened here? That fire was huge, just put out. God, someone actually died. I was about to ask what had happened when I saw a scene almost identical to what I remembered from my last life. Lily came running at me, grabbed my arm, and dragged me to the body. Her face was ghostly pale, tear stains running down her cheeks. She shrieked, Emily, why did you do this? You got Mom killed. Ethan came over too, just like last time, standing beside Lily and joining in. Emily, that was your mother. How could you do something like this to her? Their voices were loud, drawing a small crowd. I kept my face blank and innocent. What are you talking about, Lily? I didn't hurt Mom. Lily was sobbing, big fat tears rolling down her face. I can't believe you'd do this. You insisted on setting off fireworks indoors. Mom told you not to, but you wouldn't listen. Then she threw herself on the body, crying dramatically. And now you still won't admit it. She didn't even give me a chance to speak. She kept going, each sentence more intense than the last. Why are you like this, Emily? You just had to ruin everything, didn't you? You tore the whole family apart. Are you finally satisfied? What did I do wrong? What did Mom do to deserve this? Why did you have to hurt her like that? You were just jealous that Mom and Dad loved me more than they loved you. You've always hated that. That's why you did this. Emily, you have to take responsibility for Mom's death. Lily's voice was sharp, shrill, and piercing. The crowd that had started to drift away now came back, eager for more drama. Could it be premeditated murder? Someone whispered. So young and already jealous of her sister. She killed her own mom. How could anyone be so cruel? That's terrifying. What if she snaps again? What if she sets someone else's house on fire? Why is her boyfriend helping her sister? Don't tell me he's helping a murderer. How can he live with himself? Hearing all that, my throat tightened, and I swayed a little where I stood. But this time, I wasn't afraid. Seeing my pale face and trembling hands, Lily and Ethan thought I was scared. So they tried to press their advantage. They raised their voices even more, pointing fingers and piling on the blame. I told you I didn't do any of this, I said. Lily's eyes were red and puffy. She looked around at the surrounding neighbors and said with righteous fury, Everyone is watching you, Emily, and you still have the nerve to deny it. What about Mom and Dad, who loved you all these years? Is this how you repay them? And where does that leave me? Lily clutched her chest as if my indifference had shattered her heart. The older onlookers around us began shaking their heads and sighing. One woman even handed Lily a tissue and tried to comfort her. I kept my face cold and unmoved. I didn't care how much she cried or made a scene. If I didn't do it, I wasn't going to admit to it. Ethan looked stunned. He walked over and gently took my hand. Emily, you're my girlfriend, he said. But the girl I fell in love with was honest and sincere. Not like this. Not so fake. Come on, let's go apologize to Lily first. Then we'll go turn ourselves in. No matter what happens, I'll wait for you. He looked at me with such deep emotion that the onlookers were visibly moved. What a perfect man. someone whispered. He's too good. What a sweet, decent guy. Emily is so lucky. Can you believe it? She killed her mom and still has a boyfriend like that. She must have done something good in a past life. I laughed coldly inside. I thought back to my past life, to the time Ethan and Lily visited me in prison, standing right in front of me and flaunting their affection. Every second of it made me want to throw up. Ethan may have looked like he was gently pulling me along, but in reality, he was using all his strength to drag me over to Lily. He forced me to bow and apologize to her. Aunt Christine loved you so much. I saw that with my own eyes, he said. She wasn't just your mom. She was Lily's mom too. And now you've killed the person Lily loved most, Emily. As your boyfriend, it's my responsibility to help you change your ways and become a better person. You need to apologize to Lily. If it helps, you can even cut ties with your parents to earn forgiveness. My heart skipped a beat when I heard that their original plan had been to kill me and claim the Lane family inheritance. But now that I'd survived, they were pushing me to sever ties instead. If I officially cut ties with my parents, I'd no longer be part of the Lane family. Without me, Lily would get everything, at least several $1 million worth. Cut ties with my family? Who the hell did they think they were? I was furious. I shook Ethan's hand off and took 2 steps back. Ethan's face darkened instantly. He was clearly pissed off by my refusal to go along with their plan. What's wrong with you, Emily? He snapped. He turned the whole house upside down. Your mom's dead. Lily's heartbroken. And you're still so arrogant. You show no remorse. And now you won't even agree to cut ties with your family. You killed her mother, and you still think you deserve to be part of the Lane family. The crowd erupted again, voices rising with judgment and disgust. How could she be like this? She killed someone and won't even admit it. Emily's nothing but a viper. Her poor parents. If you didn't do it, then where's your proof? Talk is cheap. Lily started crying harder, looking more and more pitiful. Don't say anything for me anymore, she sobbed. She did it on purpose. She wanted to kill Mom. I'm calling the police. I want justice. Let's see how long she can keep acting like nothing happened. She dialed 911. The officer on the other end said they'd be there soon. The bystanders had no intention of leaving now. They were all eager to stay and watch the drama unfold. But hearing Lily's declaration made me roll my eyes. I stayed calm. There was no way she could have guessed that I was actually hoping the cops would show up soon, so they could finally uncover who the real killer was. 10 minutes passed, and the police hadn't arrived yet, but someone else did. Dad. He came rushing over with a suitcase, out of breath. What happened? He asked. Why is our house burned down? And right then, Lily threw herself into his arms. Lily threw herself into Dad's arms and started bawling. Dad, the house caught on fire. It's all Emily's fault. She got Mom killed. Last night, she insisted on setting off fireworks. I told her not to, but she wouldn't listen. Then the house caught fire all of a sudden, and Mom was trapped in the room. She burned to death at the party. I only threw it because she encouraged me to. Mom's gone now. She's dead. Lily sobbed as she spoke. Her words were disjointed from grief, but she was still able to clearly lay out her version of events. After hearing what she said, Dad's face turned grim, so dark and stormy, it was almost terrifying. But Lily kept crying and complaining, completely unaware of the change in Dad's expression. Dad, you have to stand up for Mom, she begged. Emily still refuses to admit what she did. Mom was always so gentle, so kind. She loved me so much. Now she's dead with her eyes open, still full of pain. All I want now is for Emily to cut ties with our family. She doesn't deserve to be one of us. Lily's voice grew louder and more emotional, completely caught up in her own fantasy, not noticing at all how wrong Dad's gaze had become. Ethan, standing next to her, chimed in to support her. If someone does something wrong, they should be punished. We'll make sure she turns herself in. Finally, when Lily met Dad's deathly glare, her words abruptly stopped. She looked a little nervous now and stammered, Dad, what's wrong? Dad's chest rose and fell with suppressed fury. His lips pressed into a tight line. And then Lily, completely unaware, said the one thing she shouldn't have. Dad, Emily got Mom killed. Dad's hand came down hard. The slap was sharp and sudden, catching Lily completely off guard. The crowd gasped. What the hell? Someone muttered. Did he just hit the wrong person? What kind of father hits his daughter like that? He must be out of his mind. Even Ethan was stunned. He froze for a second or two, then rushed over to help Lily up. Sir, it was Emily who got your wife killed. Why are you hitting Lily? But Dad's icy stare made Ethan freeze again. Get out, he said, his voice like ice. Ethan had never seen Dad look so terrifying. He stood frozen on the spot. You think you have any right to get involved in our family's business? Dad snapped. Dad, why did you hit me? Lily whimpered, holding her face and looking at him through tears. It was Emily. But Dad cut her off sharply. Are you sure Emily went to your party last night? That she set the fire and killed your mom? Yes, Lily replied without hesitation, nodding forcefully. Dad, I didn't know Mom was home. If I'd known, I never would have let Emily set off fireworks in the house. At the same time, my boyfriend Ethan stepped up to back her story. Emily really likes fireworks, he said. She told me she's never gotten to play with them before. She insisted we set them off at the party. If she didn't like them indoors, who else could it have been? As soon as Ethan finished speaking, Lily added tearfully, Dad, you have to stand up for me for Mom. You have to make her pay. Ethan, sensing momentum, helped Lily up from the ground and turned to Dad. Sir, throwing a party isn't a crime. If anyone's to blame, it's Emily. We told her not to light fireworks indoors, but she ignored us. And because of that, you lost the woman you loved the most. I clenched my fists as I listened. Ethan had emphasized those last words. The woman you loved the most, making sure Dad wouldn't miss them. In our family, Dad loved Mom more than anything. After that, it was me and Lily. We used to joke that if it hadn't been for Mom wanting a child, I might not have even been born. Mom had always been in poor health. Dad never planned for her to have kids. They would have been happy, just the two of them. But Mom loved children, so she chose to have me. I'd told Ethan all of this before. I never thought he'd use it like this. Throw it back in my face like a weapon. This was exactly what Ethan wanted. To manipulate Dad into blaming me, just like in the previous life, and have me thrown into prison again, left to waste away and die in despair. Now I could finally see just how ugly and twisted he truly was. By this point, even the crowd of neighbors watching us looked shocked. No one seemed to know what to believe anymore. Why wasn't Dad punishing me, the daughter who supposedly got her mother killed? Ethan shouted at me, Emily, stop trying to deny it. Wrong is wrong. Just apologize already. I nearly laughed out loud. This was absurd. Lily kept pushing her lies. Emily, are you really going to be this heartless? But when she caught sight of the rage and cruelty burning in Dad's eyes, her voice faltered and she stuttered. Dad, what's wrong? Just then, Mom squeezed through the crowd, carrying bags in both hands. She looked completely confused. Honey, what's going on? The moment they saw her, both Lily and Ethan went sheet white. Dad and I instinctively reached out to take Mom's bags. Mom glanced at Lily, who stood there, tear-streaked and shaking. What's going on here? She asked. Lily seemed frozen for a second, staring at Mom in disbelief. Then her expression flipped into something deeply sorrowful, and she ran into Mom's arms. Mom, you're alive. I thought you were. Her words dissolved into sobs. Dad's face was like stone. Before Mom could even say a word, he shoved Lily away from her. You don't have the right to call her that. Lily burst into tears. Dad, I messed up. I really thought she was dead. I thought that body was Mom's. Mom frowned deeply and turned to me. Emily, what happened? I calmly told her everything exactly as it was. When I finished, Mom clutched her chest, her eyes red with emotion. Lily, how could you lie like that? She asked. Lily hurried to defend herself. Mom, it was my fault. I admit it. I mistook the body for you. But Emily did commit murder. You have to believe me. Ethan quickly backed her up. Exactly. Even though the body wasn't yours, Emily definitely started the fire. That hasn't changed. I sneered. These two really were something else. Lying came as naturally to them as breathing. Dad's face was dark. He looked at me and said, Emily, I've known you since you were a child. You've always had this little problem with lying. Your mom and I worried about it all the time, but I never thought you'd go so far as to lie to me." He started calm, but his voice rose with each word until he was shouting by the end directly at Lily. Lily flinched from the sound, visibly startled. Still, she whispered, trying to defend herself. "Dad, you have to believe me. Emily did kill someone." Dad's jaw tightened, his lips twitching with rage. "You say one more word of that nonsense, and I swear this is beyond unacceptable." Lily turned bright red, tears welling up in her eyes. She stood rooted to the spot as if overwhelmed with injustice. Then she exploded. "You're just playing favorites," she shouted. "Just because she's your biological daughter, you won't hold her accountable. I've never heard you say a single bad thing about her. But because I'm adopted, you never truly trusted me, did you? Then why did you and Mom even bother taking me in at all?" That kind of twist stunned the whole crowd. "She's adopted?" someone whispered. "No wonder. She doesn't look anything like them. Still, that doesn't mean they should favor their own kid over her. This is murder we're talking about. Looks like Lily's been treated unfairly all along." Dad's chest heaved, his hands shaking with rage. He pointed at Lily and shouted, You ungrateful little, have you no conscience at all?" And just then, several police officers pushed their way through the crowd. "Who made the call?" one of them asked. Lily immediately raised her hand. "I did, officer. I want to report Emily for arson and murder," Lily shouted. Mom stepped forward, furious. "That's a lie." Dad walked straight over to Officer Andy. "Officer, these two are slandering my daughter. You should arrest them both." Lily quickly pointed to the covered corpse. "That's the evidence. Emily set the fire and killed an innocent person." Officer Andy frowned. "Where's Emily?" I stepped forward, calm and collected. As I looked at Lily's smug expression, I couldn't help but curve my lips into a slight smile. "Officer," I said, "I have something to say. Save your excuses." Lily snapped, trying to cut me off. I ignored her completely and kept talking. "Last night, I was out of town with my mom and dad. We went to a concert together. I wasn't even home." The moment those words left my mouth, the surrounding crowd erupted in shock. What? Another twist? Is Lily just making stuff up now? If the key witness is lying, that's a crime too. Hearing the crowd's reaction, Lily's expression began to twist in panic. I stayed perfectly calm as I took out my phone and opened up the videos I'd taken at the concert along with the photos of me and my parents at the venue. "Officer," I said, "here's video footage I recorded at the concert. These are photos of me and my parents at the event, and here's the proof of purchase for the tickets." The more Andy looked through the evidence, the more serious his expression became. He turned back to Lily. "You're accusing her of arson and murder. Do you have any proof she was present at the scene?" Lily's lips turned pale. She stayed silent for a long time. Seeing the tension, Ethan rushed forward and grabbed Lily, who looked like she might collapse. "Officer, that person still died because of Emily. Why would we lie about this?" I let out a cold laugh. "Who knows, Ethan? Sometimes I wonder, are you my boyfriend or Lily's?" Gasps spread through the crowd. What's going on here? Did anyone else notice how that guy has been siding with the sister the whole time? He never once defended his girlfriend. Are you saying he's in love with her sister? Wasn't this all because the girlfriend supposedly killed their mom? Maybe he really believed it at first, but now it's obvious the sister's the one lying. And he's still defending her. That's messed up. I heard the whispers around me and continued coldly. "Lily, Ethan, one is my own sister. The other is the man I've loved for years. I really didn't expect the two of you to be sneaking around behind my back." As soon as the words left my mouth, silence fell over the entire crowd. Everyone stared in stunned disbelief. Shocked eyes turned from Ethan to Lily and back again. Ethan, looking awkward and exposed, quickly let go of Lily's arm. "That's not," he started trying to explain. But before he could finish, a middle-aged woman in the crowd cut him off. "I knew it," she shouted, pointing at Ethan. "I knew something was off. You were siding with that girl the whole time. I thought she was your girlfriend." She turned to Lily and pointed straight at her. "And you? You didn't even try to hide it." Lily, now the center of attention, panicked and waved her hands. No, that's not true. I didn't. I'm not. Mom and Dad stared at Lily in disbelief. Dad's face grew even darker. Lily, he said through clenched teeth. Is this how we raised you? You've brought shame to this family. Tears streamed down Lily's face. No, I mean I didn't. Then Dad turned to Ethan. And you? You shameless bastard. How dare you? You cheat on my daughter, lie in front of everyone, and go behind our backs with Lily. You think I'd ever let someone like you near my family again? You piece of trash. The more Dad spoke, the angrier he got. Spitting with fury, he stormed over to Ethan, fists clenched. Dad threw a punch straight into Ethan's unguarded face. Ethan was stunned, completely caught off guard. The side of his mouth immediately swelled and turned purple. Several bystanders rushed forward to hold Dad back, trying to stop him. There are police here. That's enough, sir. Calm down. As that scene unfolded, I noticed Lily trying to quietly slip out of the crowd. I suddenly called out, Lily, where are you going? She froze mid-step. Everyone turned to look at her. I wasn't going anywhere, she stammered. I crossed my arms over my chest. This isn't over. Right here is the proof that I was out of town with my parents last night. What more do you have to say? You accused me of setting a fire and killing someone. You tried to destroy my reputation with lie after lie. First, you said the body was Mom's. The moment you saw she was alive, you changed your story to say I killed an innocent person. Lily, I can't believe you had the nerve to accuse me without even checking who the victim was. If I hadn't had evidence or witnesses last night, you might have actually gotten away with framing me. Lily's voice trembled. Sis. I cut her off. Don't. I don't deserve to be called that. In our family, we don't include people like you. Officer Andy, now fully alert, could tell this was far more than a simple dispute. He said to me, Lily and Ethan, you three need to come down to the station so we can sort all this out. I wasn't afraid, so I agreed without hesitation. Sure. But the moment Lily and Ethan heard that, their faces shifted. Panic flickered across both of them. Suddenly, Lily stepped forward, dropped to her knees in front of Mom and Dad, and grabbed Mom's hand with tears in her eyes. Dad, Mom, I was wrong. Please, I don't want to go to the police station. Mom's eyes were red. Her voice trembled as she pulled her hand away. Don't call me that. You know perfectly well how we treated you. We gave you everything. We never let you suffer. Never once let you go without. Whatever you wanted, we gave it to you. And this is how you repay us? Dad's voice was cold and cutting. Why are you so afraid of going to the station? Unless you've got something to hide? That made Lily flinch. Her whole body shook. Watching her like that, I let out a light laugh and chimed in. Exactly. If you're innocent, you've got nothing to fear. Suddenly Lily whipped her head toward me and screamed. Shut up. I didn't kill anyone. I didn't. The more she panicked, the calmer I became. I gave her an innocent look and said, I never said you did. Lily choked on her words, unable to respond. I added lightly, you kept asking me where I was last night, but what about you? Didn't you host the party? So naturally you were home. That kicked off another round of murmurs in the crowd. She's right. Everyone was questioning Emily's alibi. What about Lily's? Yeah, she was the one throwing the party. What if she actually did it? What if she killed that person and tried to frame Emily? Oh my God, that would be insane. This woman's scary. Lily stammered. Last night Officer Andy finally stepped forward again, his tone more forceful. Miss, if you don't come with us now, we'll have to take you by force. Lily refused to get up. Still on her knees, she dragged herself over to Dad, clinging to his leg. Dad, please. I don't want to go to jail. I was wrong. I'll apologize to Emily. I'll say I'm sorry. I swear. Just please don't let them take me to jail. Her words made the crowd erupt again. Some even pulled out their phones to start recording. Holy crap, she just confessed. So it really was her. She exposed herself out of fear. She hid it so well. That woman's terrifying. Dad turned his face away, refusing to look at her. Lily turned to Mom instead, crying even harder. Mom, I'm sorry. Please help me. Please. Suddenly, she started slapping herself in the face again and again, crying and cursing herself between each hit. I'm disgusting. I don't deserve anything. Dad, Mom, please. I'm begging you. I'll change, Lily sobbed. I swear I'll change, but I don't want to go to jail. You can hit me, yell at me, do whatever you want. I'll hit myself for you. Seeing Lily in such a pitiful state, Ethan immediately dropped to his knees in front of me. He reached out, grabbing at my arm. Emily, Emily, please, he begged. You can't just watch your sister go to prison. She only lost her mind for a moment. She didn't mean it. I looked down at him coldly. This pathetic pair. Just as I was about to speak, Ethan's eyes lit up with hope. He nodded eagerly and said, As long as you help her, I'll come back to you. I'll love you forever. He said it with conviction, like he actually believed it. I let out a laugh. This disgusting man. How could someone be so shameless? I opened my mouth and said slow and clear, No, I won't help her, and I won't help you. You really thought Lily was the only one at fault? You were in on it too. Ethan's face instantly turned pale. He threw himself to the ground and started slamming his head against the pavement, bowing repeatedly. His forehead was already turning red and swollen, but I still didn't flinch. People around us were recording with their phones now, saying they'd upload it online, so he'd become famous. What a disgrace. Sleeping with your girlfriend's younger sister. Unbelievable. There really are all kinds of freaks out there. How blind was this girl to fall for a guy like that? Well, he was devoted to the little sister. Then someone finally called it out. Yeah, right. He's not doing this out of love. He's just scared. If Lily goes down for murder, he'll be charged as an accomplice too. The crowd murmured in agreement. That comment clearly hit a nerve. Ethan's eyes filled with blood, and his breathing turned sharp and erratic. He glared at the people filming him like he wanted to devour them. People backed away, but they didn't stop recording. God, he looks like he's going to eat us alive. Well, maybe don't screw your girlfriend's sister and murder someone then. Meanwhile, Lily kept crying and screaming, calling out for Ethan. Ethan, Ethan, please beg my sister for me. Please. Each plea sounded more pitiful than the last, like they were the true victims who'd been betrayed and wronged. Just then, a police officer approached from where the body had been and whispered something to Officer Andy. Andy nodded, then jotted something in his notebook. He looked up and addressed the crowd loudly. We've identified the deceased. Her name is Guliang Wang, 45 years old. What? Lily's eyes flew wide open like she'd been struck by lightning. I covered my mouth and feigned shock. Oh my God. Isn't that your biological mother? How could she? I trailed off dramatically, then put on a look of sudden realization. Oh, so you burned your real mother to death. Lily's body began to tremble. She rushed toward the stretcher and yanked the white sheet away. The moment she saw the face underneath, her knees buckled. She collapsed in front of the corpse, wailing, Mom, how could this happen? Ethan stood there, stunned, muttering, It was her real mom. I smiled coldly and added fuel to the fire. You two set the fire, killed someone, and didn't even bother checking who it was. Ethan spun toward me furious. Shut your mouth. I tilted my head, calm and unbothered. Why should I? You're the ones who committed murder and tried to frame me. And now that you've killed the wrong person, you still think you have the right to scream at me. Shameless. I turned to walk toward the police officers. But just as I took a step forward, I felt a jolt of danger. Ethan, pushed to the edge, exploded. He sprang up violently. I barely had time to register what was happening before his hand clamped down around my neck. In an instant, he slipped behind me and held me hostage. Ethan pulled a small folding knife from his pocket and pressed it against my neck. The blade touched my skin. In that instant, the entire crowd backed away several steps, their murmurs turning into loud panic. Dad's eyes were bloodshot as he glared at Ethan. His voice cracked with emotion. Ethan, are you out of your mind? Let go of Emily. Mom looked like she couldn't take it. Her knees buckled as she nearly fainted. Dad caught her just in time and held her close, afraid to take even a single step forward. I am crazy, Ethan yelled, his voice frantic. You all pushed me to this. I knelt. I begged. I even bowed my damn head. Why won't you just let me and Lily go? Lily was terrified too. She stood frozen, stunned by the sheer madness in Ethan's voice and eyes. The onlookers kept pleading with him, trying to de-escalate. Hey kid, don't do anything rash. Let's talk this out. Come on. That's a life you're holding in your hands. Honestly, I had never expected Ethan to actually go this far. For a second, I felt like I was back in my previous life, right on the edge of death again. I steadied my breath and spoke softly. Ethan, don't do this. If you kill me, the charges against you will only get worse. But he wasn't listening. He screamed at me to shut up. Still gripping me tightly, he began dragging me backward. The crowd slowly parted, making way. Meanwhile, Lily was clutching at Dad's leg, crying, Dad, please. I don't want to go to prison. Please. Dad glanced at me, his eyes full of worry. I gave him a slight shake of my head. Even if it meant dying, I had to make sure these two paid for everything. Dad's face went cold. He clenched his jaw and finally said, Lily, from now on, you're no longer part of this family. Lily stared at him, then turned toward Ethan, desperation in her eyes. He knew then there was no way out. Suddenly he started laughing hysterically. Lily's hair was disheveled, her eyes wild. She ran up to us and shouted, Emily won't let us go. Then we won't let her go either. She leaned close to my ear and hissed with venom. Just wait until we're dead. I'll make you pay, you shameless bitch. Everyone was frozen in place, tension thick in the air. Officer Andy inched forward slowly, cautiously. Ethan panicked and nicked my neck with the knife, just enough to draw a thin line of blood. People around us gasped, still trying to talk him down. At that moment, a swift figure appeared behind Lily. With a quick move, the officer twisted her arms behind her back and pinned her to the ground. Lily let out a shriek. It was another officer, one that had been moving quietly through the crowd. Ethan spun around and suddenly realized the police had closed in from all sides. I could hear Ethan's breathing grow more ragged, his panic rising, his grip on me tightening. Don't come any closer, he shouted. Stay back. The officers froze, hands raised to show they weren't holding weapons. Ethan's hand was shaking badly, his face pale and full of panic. No one moves. I mean it. Give me a car. Let me take Lily and go. One of the officers was holding Lily, who suddenly spit on the ground and screamed, Don't worry about me. Kill her. Kill that. She thrashed violently, trying to break free. The officer shoved her head down and dragged her back, keeping her restrained. Ethan panicked even more at her outburst. His eyes darted everywhere. He was losing control. Officer Andy noticed the shift and slowly stepped forward, speaking calmly and steadily. Sir, don't do this. Let's take it down a notch. The investigation is still ongoing, but if anyone else gets hurt, you'll be facing even more serious charges. If you didn't do anything, we'll let you go after it's all cleared up. Ethan didn't dare hurt me, but he also didn't dare let me go. I was his only leverage. He started trying to negotiate. It was all Lily, everything. I didn't do anything. Just give me a car. I'll let her take the fall and then you let me go, Ethan shouted. The crowd erupted again. No way. He's seriously throwing her under the bus now. What a coward. Pushing everything onto a girl like that? Sure, don't say too much. We still got a hostage. The police remained calm and kept nodding in acknowledgement to avoid provoking him further. Ethan swallowed hard. The more he spoke, the more excited he became, like holding a life in his hands gave him all the power. Oh, and I want cash too, he barked, the greed in his eyes practically oozing out. At that moment, while Ethan was distracted, I slowly slid a hand into my purse. My fingers found the small bottle I'd been carrying, and the familiar shape of it gave me a sense of control again. Officer Andy inched closer, now only a few feet away from Ethan. Finally, Ethan seemed to notice and panicked. He raised the knife toward Andy, but Andy's eyes didn't flinch. His stare was sharp and commanding, so intense that Ethan's hand trembled and instinctively drew back. That 1 second was all it took. In a blur, Andy lunged forward, grabbed Ethan's wrist, and twisted it hard to the side. Ethan cried out in pain as the knife clattered to the ground. In the same moment, I bit down hard on the arm he had pinned across my chest. The taste of blood filled my mouth, but I didn't stop. As soon as he flinched and let go, I yanked the pepper spray from my purse and sprayed it straight into his face. He screamed in agony, cursing through the pain. "You filthy! I should have killed you! You worthless!" Blinded and furious, Ethan flailed around, tears and snot pouring from his face as he tried to lunge at me again. But I sprayed him again, harder this time. He staggered backward, clawing at his face. Just then, a group of officers rushed in and stepped between us, shielding me. The others quickly restrained Ethan. The tide had finally turned. This whole nightmare was almost over. The crowd slowly began to disperse, shaking their heads and murmuring as they went. Unbelievable. People like that really exist. What a snake. And that girl too. Pure evil. That poor sister. She almost died thanks to them. I glanced down at my phone. The story had already exploded online. From Lily and Ethan framing me to Ethan's failed hostage stunt. It had all made the headlines. The comments were flooded with outrage. God, what terrible luck. Imagine dating a man like that. And the little sister knows better. Framing her own sister, killing her birth mom, then acting all innocent. She's disgusting. This Emily girl really suffered. Cheated on, betrayed, nearly murdered. And if her family hadn't spoken up for her, they might have pulled it off. How did this family treat Lily so well? And she still turned out like that. Figure she wasn't their biological child. You can't fake blood. Born evil. What else is there to say? The police cuffed Ethan and led him away. I was surrounded by officers who gently guided me to safety and stayed close in case anything else happened. Mom and Dad rushed toward me. They pulled me into their arms. "Emily, thank God you're okay," Mom sobbed. "You're okay. That's all that matters." "I'm fine, Mom. Really, don't worry." I hugged her tightly, trying to comfort her, even though my own hands were shaking. Dad looked somber as he stared at the police car. I could feel just how much pain he was in. With a deep sigh, he muttered, "Some sins, you just have to pay for yourself. There's no place for people like them in the Lane family." I watched as the officers finished clearing the scene and escorted Ethan and Lily into separate patrol cars. Ethan looked completely dazed, beaten, broken, obediently climbing in without resistance. Lily, on the other hand, was still fighting it. She clawed at the doorframe with all her strength and screamed at me through the open window. "Die. Just die. If you were dead, everything would have been mine. It was all supposed to be mine." The hatred in her face was unforgettable. I almost couldn't reconcile this savage person with the sweet girl, who used to call me sister in the softest voice. She used to be so cute. Now, there was nothing left of that girl. She was a stranger. A stranger who never had a shred of real sisterly love for me. I should have seen it coming long ago. In the end, the police shoved Ethan's head down and forced him into the patrol car. As the door closed, he looked at me through the window with eyes full of hatred, like he wanted to skin me alive and devour me whole. Once I gathered my thoughts, I followed the officers back to the station to give my statement. My emotions were a complicated mess, but I stayed composed. When I finished the report and stepped out of the room, I saw a doctor in a white coat walking in. Moments later, they wheeled out a body under a white sheet. I asked someone nearby and was stunned by the answer. The body was Ethan's. Apparently, after pretending to cooperate and confess, Ethan suddenly snapped. Just as the officers were unlocking his handcuffs, he lunged. He grabbed a pen from the desk and tried to stab it straight into the officer's carotid artery. Clack. The pen slipped from his fingers and hit the floor, falling just inches short of the target. That desperate final act earned him nothing. Ethan collapsed with blood streaming from his mouth. His eyes were wide open, bloodshot, staring into nothingness as he hit the ground unmoving. Lily let out a sharp, ear-piercing scream when she saw it happen. Then she passed out cold behind him. Ethan was declared dead at the scene. Emergency responders couldn't save him. As for Lily, with charges like premeditated murder, hostage conspiracy, and aiding and abetting, she'd be spending a long, long time behind bars all by herself. When I finally stepped out of the police station, the sky that had been dark and heavy just hours before had cleared. The sun was shining brightly. I tilted my face up to feel its warmth. For the first time in forever, my heart felt light again. Across the street, I saw Mom and Dad standing by the car, waving at me. I smiled truly from the bottom of my heart. Everything suddenly felt wide open and clear. The haze that had hung over my soul for so long had finally lifted. I no longer obsessed over the pain Lily and Ethan caused me. They got what they deserved, and now I could finally live the rest of my life in peace and happiness.